Kia ora koutou, ko Eleanor Bishop Takawingoa, and I am the director of The Strangest of Angels, a new New Zealand opera that is a imaginative reflection on Janet Frame's time at Seacliff Mental Hospital. The opera is composed by Kenneth Young with Annalise and with a libretto by Georgia Jameson Ems. What hooked me into this work was the opportunity to be involved in the creation of a new opera. I've done a lot of new New Zealand theatre, but never an opera, and that felt really exciting. What also hooked me into this piece was the opportunity to be part of creating something that was intimate and psychological and going really deep on exploring these characters. I was also really fascinated to explore the themes of the mind and grief and trauma, but also how powerful human connection can be and a human relationship in a place such as Seacliff. In the course of my preparation and research, I started to feel really connected to Janet. I read a lot of her work, and I particularly felt this connection as a fellow New Zealand female artist. When you have things to say, things you want to explore in a world that isn't always perhaps receptive to hearing them. And I felt really proud that Janet had paved the way for other artists to follow. She's a very special part of our history. The process of creating this opera was really fascinating to me, particularly the collaboration between Kenneth Young and Annalise as kind of both composers in the work, and Anna as the commissioner and a performer in the work. There was a point in the process when I had my first meeting with Ken, and I was asking him, how is this working? How are you creating this? On a singer, this music. And he played me some recordings of Anna sort of freestyling to George's libretto in the Mad scene, where she was doing this amazing mix of kind of Sprechstimme, like spoken singing, and elegant sort of classical lines as well. And Ken explained to me that he was taking those kind of vocal compositions and setting them to music. And I think it makes for a work that's really integrated, it's made on Anna as a singer, and that's really exciting, I think, for an audience to see an artist pushing the boundaries of what the voice can do. Ken's music is so beautiful. It's haunting, it's sad, it's harrowing, it shifts constantly, it's changing, and it really, really reminded me of the mind and how the mind works, which I think is perfect for a psychological opera like this. And so that made me pose the questions to our design team when we were starting to create the world of how can we create a world on stage that can be Seacliff and the reality of that, but that can also feel like the mind. And that has led us to create this kind of electric space where light is the reactor and the driver of the world. And I think you'll find that that world can shift on a dime, just like the piece does, and really kind of reflects and goes hand in hand with the music, which I'm really proud of. My favorite thing about this opera is the intimacy of it. The audience gets to be really up close and intimate with these characters in these very private, tender moments that we wouldn't normally be privy to. And those are moments that are both shared between them and also experienced alone. I think opera is such an interesting form. Why does it exist? It exists because there's things as humans that are unspoken and that cannot be said. Things that are so deeply felt and emotional that the only way that they can be expressed is through singing, because they cannot be said. And so that way, opera is a hugely emotional form, and this opera is hugely emotional. And I think that's a really wonderful form for a story that is about the very human need to be connected, to be understood, and to be heard.